So you're probably sitting there, scratching your head, thinking, all right, the Australia 491 visa. Everyone keeps talking about it. But what are my actual chances of success in 2025? Good question. And in this video, I'm going to break it down for you without sugarcoating it. Because let's be honest, you don't want motivational speeches. You want numbers, facts, strategies, and maybe a little hope sprinkled on top. Now, before diving into success rates, let's set the stage. The 491 visa, officially called the Skilled Work Regional Provisional Visa, is Australia's way of saying, hey, we'll give you a 5-year ticket to live and work in regional Australia. Prove you can hack it in the bush or the smaller cities. And if you do well, we'll reward you with permanent residency down the line. But the big question is, how likely are you to actually get one in 2025? The reality of success rates. First, let's talk about raw acceptance rates. In previous years, the success rate for 491 visas has hovered anywhere between 35% to 55%, depending on your occupation, your state nomination, and how competitive your expression of interest was. Now in 2025, things look a bit different. Australia has tightened some screws while loosening others. Why? Because the economy is in this weird mix. Skill shortages are everywhere, but at the same time, the government doesn't want migration numbers going totally out of control. So, what's the ballpark success rate this year? Well, if we average across the board, the 491 visa success rate sits around 42% to 48%. That means roughly 1 in 2 serious applicants can expect an invitation if they play their cards right. But it's still not just about applying, it's about knowing the game. State by state, who's playing nice, who's not. The 491 visa is state-nominated. That means your chances depend heavily on which state or territory you're aiming for. And let's be honest, some states are way friendlier than others. South Australia is like the open-door policy state. They're desperate for skilled workers, especially in health, trade, and agriculture. Success rates here is close to 55% if you're in the right occupation. Not bad odds at all. Tasmania is like that friendly neighbor who always says, yeah, come over for dinner. They've been very welcoming to international graduates and offshore applicants with solid job offers. Your chances? Around 50% if you tick their boxes. New South Wales, the land of Sydney, beaches, and painfully high competition. Everyone and their cousin applies here. Success rate is more like 25 to 30% unless you're in a super demand occupation. Victoria has its own way of doing things. They're picky, they want highly skilled workers, and they focus heavily on tech, health, and research jobs. The success rate hovers around 35%, so you'll need a sharp profile. Queensland is a mixed bag. They like regional commitment and prefer applicants already in the state. Offshore applicants have slim chances, and for onshore applicants, it's not too bad. Maybe 40% success rate. Western Australia is booming again thanks to mining and construction, but their nomination requirements can be tough. Still, if you're in those industries, success rates push past 50%. Northern Territory, with small population, massive land, and endless need for workers. If you're willing to actually move there, the Northern Territory offers high success rates of around 55%. But remember, it's hot, it's remote, and you're closer to crocodiles than shopping malls. The Australian Capital Territory has its own quirky matrix point system. It's competitive, but if you align your profile with their system, you could land a nomination. Success rates sit at about 35% to 40%. So, as you can see, success is not evenly spread. Pick the wrong state and your chances nosedive. The occupation factor. Now, here's the part people hate hearing. Not all occupations are created equal. If you're in an in-demand occupation, your success rate is way above the average. Think 60% to 70% in some states. But if you're in a crowded field, like generic admin roles or marketing, sorry to break it to you, but your chances are slim. It's not impossible, but you're fighting in a very crowded pool. Also, the EOI game and points still matter. A lot of people assume that state nomination means points don't matter much. In 2025, successful applicants are sitting at around 75 to 80 points after state nomination. Yes, the 491 gives you 15 extra points, but the base score you bring to the table still counts. If you're hovering at 50 or 55 points before nomination, your profile will probably gather dust. But here's the trick. Many people underestimate the smaller boosts. Extra points for English, partner skills, or regional study can make or break your application. Think of points like seasoning on food. Just a little extra salt can take your dish from bland to 5-star. Offshore versus onshore applicants. Now, let's talk geography. This year, onshore applicants have a higher success rate. Why? Because states prefer people who are already in Australia, proving they can commit to regional life. Onshore success rate is about 50%, while offshore success rate is more like 35 to 40%. That doesn't mean offshore applicants are doomed. It just means you've got to be more strategic. Show strong ties to the state, line up a job offer, or demonstrate your genuine intention to live in a regional area. Commitment is another hidden factor nobody talks about. And here's where a lot of applicants mess up. States don't just want skilled workers, they want committed residents. If you say you're going to live in regional Tasmania, and then the second you land, you move to Sydney, that's a problem. The Department of Home Affairs and state governments do track settlement patterns, and in 2025, they're cracking down harder because too many people have treated the 491 like a backdoor to the big cities. So, if you want a higher chance of success, you need to prove your regional commitment. The path to PR, is it worth the trouble? Let's be real, a lot of people worry. What if I get the 491 but can't transition to permanent residency? This year, the pathway is still there through the 191 visa. If you live in a regional area for at least 3 years, earn above the income threshold, and follow the conditions, you're good to go. And guess what? Most people who commit do make it to PR. The statistics show that over 70% of 491 holders transition successfully. So yes, it's worth it, and the success rate isn't just about percentages. It's about persistence, strategy, and sometimes sheer luck. So, what's the success rate for the 491 visa in 2025? On paper, about 42 to 48% overall. Higher if you're in demand, lower if you're in oversupply. But here's the real answer. Your personal success rate depends on how smartly you play the game. Choose the right state, target the right occupation, boost your points, show commitment. And above all, don't treat the 491 like a shortcut to Sydney. If you follow that path, your chances jump way higher than the average. Here's the thing. The 491 visa isn't perfect. It ties you to regional areas, it comes with conditions, and it requires patience. But for thousands of people every year, it's the golden ticket into Australia. So, if you're serious, stop worrying about whether your odds are 40% or 50%. Start working on the things that actually push you into the successful half. Because let's face it, if someone's getting that nomination, why not you?